a Jew. And he was able to cajole him to learn B'chavrsa. So he says, I know with the B'chavrsa, he says, what do you think I learned? So I said, you learned Sharshanag Sapara. He says, you gotta learn with the fried person, what are you gonna do? Yeah, we learned some Musar. This person is a very famous person who we learn with, a very famous in the Geisha world. And he finished off the story. He says, we learned 3 days, and his wife calls me and says, you're a cult, no more, my husband's not going to learn with you anymore, it's over. And you've heard of this person, extremely non-religious person. So I raised my hand and I said, had you learned Sharshanag Sapara, you would have actually continued. And the mistake that I had with this person, I was a little bit upset, is that I have a friend of mine who's very strong in the Kiruv world. And he says the first thing he does when he learns Kiruv is a guy comes, they teach him how to do holidays, and then they learn Kedushin. So I asked, what does Kedushin have to do with making a guy from? You know what the answer is? Kedushin will make you from. Because Torah is the lifeline of Yiddishkeit. And Mamela, if you give someone a shaykhis to Torah, you'll be able to shayk. And therefore, Batsim, Al used to say this over. He says that you don't find that the Rebbeinu Shalom, that Esav fought with Avram or fought with Yitzchak. The idea of Rome, the idea of what we'll call Esav, that idea, you didn't find. He says every religion understands something called religion. Avram stands for Chesed, Yitzchak stands for Rabbi. Everyone understands Daf Davenim, Daf Ton Chesed. When Yaakov came, Yaakov handles Torah. Torah is not something they understand. And that is taka the chiddush that every yeshiva bacher has to learn. Okay, I just want to tell you one quick thing. A lot of guys come to yeshiva and they come to me and ask me this question. They said, I'm going to go to work, I'm going to be in the workforce. I'm looking at a bunch of Bukharan people, okay? So you people know what it means to actually do a good deal, okay? Give you guys a lot of credit, okay? I don't know how you pulled it off, but you pulled it off. And he says, where does it get me? Where does Sharshanag Sapara, you're learning Migul Mafreya now, where does Migul Mafreya help me to sell a new blanket? And the answer is that you're right, in the future maybe you'll join the workforce. But if a person's not grounded as a human being, the workforce is a very treacherous place. And there's only one way to ground yourself. That's through Taka, Gemara, Rashi, and Taisus. I'm going to use the word of Rashba also. Therefore, that is something what is special in the American system more than even the Eretz Yisrael system. Because in Eretz Yisrael, you can walk out and you can see a Pidyon Petach Hamor and let's say for Torah and who knows what. In America, there's only one thing, it's called the Rashba. But the Rashba is our lifeline to Torah. Therefore, usually I would say over a story, usually I would try to perform here. I just don't feel it, I'll be honest with you. But if you walked in, you saw a person, I grew up in Chicago, this week was the Super Bowl, right?
Yeah.
How many of you guys watched the Super Bowl? Tell me the truth.
Boring,
Boring Super Bowl. Okay. I grew up like that too. I grew up, and when I walked into Passaic in my Rabbi what I realized is I was also the same kid, I was a little hick from Chicago, like no neck, polyester suit, the feather in my head. And I looked at Rabbi and the one thing I kept on seeing over and over is the Rashba. If you want to ground yourself, later on in life you decide what to do, but you got to ground yourself with the Rashba. I have nothing else to tell you, unfortunately. I don't feel well. Nice to meet you, Mr. Levy, right?
No, I'm Mr. Mess.
Well, I'm sorry, I apologize. Nice to